What's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Apologize for that. Having issues with the camera. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Today we are going to discuss the New York Islanders as they have signed Maxim Shababnov. This is another great pickup by Matthew Darsh, and I just posted a video the other day about how the Islanders, their free agency and things like that. Well, I didn't expect them to do more than that, but here goes Matthew Darsh making another addition. And I do want to give credit to Lou Lamoriello. A big part of the reason the Islanders brought in Maxim Shababnov, the Islanders have been in on this guy for months. And that's because of Lou Lamoriello. So don't think that the only reason the Islanders got Shababnov was, oh, Darsh is this genius. Yes, he is a genius, but I've been hearing a lot of stuff that the Islanders have been in the mix for a while. Now, there's a lot to this story to unpack. So the 24-year-old winger, he's signing out of the KHL. Last season, he put up 67 points in 65 games. We've seen this happen before. Guys coming over from Russia and maybe not playing so well, and the game translating so well between the KHL and the NHL. And the other big thing is he's 5'8", 160 pounds. So at 24 years old, he's probably not going to get that much bigger. So the real question at this point is, is this a guy that's going to be able to play the same game from Russia to the US and in Canada? It's a different game, and you're playing at the best, highest level. And just to put in perspective, the only two players in the KHL that had more points than Maxim Shababnov last year were Josh Levo and Nikita Gusev. How did things go the last time those two players were in the NHL? So keep that in mind here. That's another thing. I want to be excited here, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes. We don't know exactly how he's going to play in the NHL, and neither does he. It's a one-year deal, very low risk, very potential high reward for the Islanders. We've heard comparisons to Kirill Kaprizov with just how good he could be, but again, until they step on the ice, you never really know. Now, there's a lot more of the story behind Maxim Shababnov. A lot of different teams were in the mix on Shababnov, and I would say that the Philadelphia Flyers were probably about this close to actually signing Shababnov and not joining the Islanders. For the last couple of months, it sounded like Danny Briere really did a good job at trying to bring him in and really convincing him that the Flyers were the team. And the Islanders, with Lou Lamoriello, were always in the mix. But I think Matthew Darsh coming in, I think if Lou Lamoriello stayed with the Islanders, and as much as the Islanders were involved in Shababnov, I think he would have been a Philadelphia Flyer right now. I think Matthew Darsh, whatever he said to Shababnov when he came in, he knew that was an assignment that he really wanted to focus on. Oh, the Islanders have been talking to this guy? All right, let's see if we could get him in here. And I think once things fell through with Brock Besser, which apparently the Islanders were extraordinarily close to giving a higher number than what Brock got in Vancouver, apparently there was a bigger offer on the table, and he wanted to go to the Islanders. The Islanders said no. Brock Besser would not join the Islanders, and he would end up going back to Vancouver. Was very close to being an Islander, so the Islanders continued to put their focus on Shababnov, and boom. Next thing you know, the Islanders have signed Maxim Shababnov. So this is one that the Rangers were in the mix. The Flyers were in the mix. I think there were a couple of other teams that were peripherally on the outside looking in at Shababnov as well. It's hard to ignore when he put up the numbers that he did. He's going to be a guy that teams want to look at the very least. And on a one-year deal, like I said, very low risk. I mean, now he's going to be potentially playing with guys on the Islanders in the top six, hopefully, depending on the health of guys like Duclair and Drouin. Now you add Shababnov. You're going to have a group there that until some of the Islanders' younger forwards like Callum Ritchie and Cole Eiserman and Eklund come in, until those guys are ready to go, these are guys that are going to be the stopgap, and the best of these guys will stay with the Islanders. But the Islanders are still figuring out who could fit here and be a scoring player. And Matthew Darsh knows the assignment. The Islanders need top six forward help. They need guys that can score. And adding guys like Shababnov and Drouin, and having Duclair healthy, and adding some of the guys they've added in the draft the last 3 years, this is looking really good for the Islanders, and it's looking like a situation where this team's they're gonna turn things around pretty quickly. And I think with the addition of Schaefer and Aitchison, I mean, the Islanders are going in the right direction. And this is a team that looks very different than they did not that long ago. This is an Islanders team that I've confident. Like, the future looks bright for the Islanders for the first time in a long time. And I'm really happy to see that the Islanders are a team that people are excited about. Fans are excited to watch this Islanders team. There is buzz on Long Island talking about the Islanders. The first overall pick. Look at all these good young players they have. That Callum Ritchie kid, he's huge. That is a big power forward potential that can score on the Islanders, right? So, and then you look at Aitchison and what he's done. And God, those highlights of him making hits. Like, Islander fans are excited again. And it's kind of crazy how things turn around. Because I remember in 2020, 2021, I remember working at Home Depot and, during COVID, and here we are talking about hockey and the Islanders in the COVID bubble, going to the Eastern Conference Finals, taking Tampa to Game 7. Oh, yeah, and in 2021, they did it again. And then they fell off, 22, 23, 24, and up until really the last couple months here in 2025, it's been a disaster. So the highs and the lows of this team are so incredible. I remember 2018 when Tavares left, but then they bring in Lamoriello and Barry Trotz, and then the success, and then they fall down again, and now they're on their way back up. It is a continuing revolving door. It's either really good or really bad for the Islanders, and I gotta say right now, I'm really excited to see what the Islanders do here. There's a lot of hype that the Islanders may have won the draft this year, a lot of hype about even bringing in guys like Shababnov, who you could argue did really well in free agency, not signing guys to super long contracts that can sink them forever. I think the Dobson trade worked out really well so far. Romanov getting re-signed. Some people are on the fence about that one. I'm okay with it. And like I said in the other video, I think for the Islanders, the key thing is there's a new face, there's a new direction, yet there's a lot of the same players on this team. It just feels so different than it did at the end of last season. And I think that's what it comes down to, is this one word. It's hope. There is hope again for the Islanders. There is a future for this team. One of the teams that had probably one of the worst prospect pools in the league within magically 2 months, not even. The Islanders all of a sudden are now being talked about as having one of the best prospect pools in the entire National Hockey League. It's crazy how things can change in just a couple of months with the right guy at the helm. From the day the Islanders brought in Matthew Darche, I felt good because I knew that the Islanders were going to be in the hands of somebody that is competent and was the best person available for the job. The Islanders took the best player available for the job, and they did it. They did it in kind of a slower fashion than you would have liked, but they did it. And they found a way to do it with the right timing. He still had time to do the draft stuff and everything else. And the Islanders, man, everything's coming up blue and orange right now for the Islanders. And it's incredible. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this content, want to see more videos like it, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel as always. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys again next time.